nächste Künstlerin, die wir zu Wort kommen lassen möchten, ist Susanne Kutter aus Berlin.
Who's going to give a presentation is Susanne Kutter from Berlin, who grew up in Frankfurt an der Oder for her entire life. I would like to ask Susanne a few words about the 4 questions we sent to her. I wasn't born in Frankfurt. I grew up in the city, however, and I lived here until the age of 15. I lived in a...
Można ciszyć tej muzyki trochę, bo po prostu ją to rozprasza też.
An dem ganz vorsichtig runterdrehen. An dem großen Knopf.
Okay, so let's tune the volume down a bit. Yeah, it was a bit distracting. I grew up in Hansenort. My father ran to the west in 1989 and I was left with my mother and my sister. Sorry, he fled in 1981 and we joined him in 1982 with the rest of the family. I have a great fondness for functional spaces, although they're not luxury. They doesn't have to be beautiful, but it's most important they are practical. And we lived in very similar work conditions in the DDR. And I was very interested in the uniformity of the solutions that were implemented in the past. And indeed, as we moved westward, I lost a lot of my identity, of my feeling of safety and feeling myself. This is something I can't repeat because this is a long gone and concluded period. So the film starts with a very ordered living space seen from the bird's view. It represents an idyllic reality which turns out to be an illusion very soon. In the end, we witness the space being decomposed or destroyed by the moving wall. The view we are looking at is a 2-dimensional space. However, when the wall pushes its way against the space, you can see that it's actually a 3-dimensional space, and I wanted to achieve this effect, the change of space in my construction. One question: why did you name this film The Sugar Pot? There is a scenery presented in the first view, and when the sugar pot is presented on screen, this illusion becomes distorted. We know that it's going into the wrong direction. It's not going to be a pleasant meeting. This meeting is not as harmonious as it was seen to be from the beginning. The sugar pot remains stable. It's the only stable point of the view. It's placed on a round table, and we can see that this universe is round, in fact, because these are round objects enclosed in a round table in the vicinity of other geometric objects, and this unity of form is maintained until the very end. This is China, which is China is supposed to be destroyed in the first place, but it's moving away from the wall. How did you achieve this result? It was it's a classic movie set in a seaport in Villen, in Westfalen. And in cooperation with the fund of filmmaking industry, I applied for a grant. We asked the director where we were able to create such a film. The director put forward a special space in the port. They even suggested that we use huge 9-ton walls. So we built a room between these walls, and the last of the walls was screwed onto the wall so that it doesn't move under pressure. And the pressure was generated by a huge bulldozer that was pushing the wall against the space. And we combined the sound. We adjusted the speeds accordingly, and the speed at which the room was pressed to fit the music in the scene, because we knew how long the soundtrack exactly was. So we were in constant contact with the bulldozer. So we told him to slow down or accelerate, and he did as he was told.
Ja, das sind ja auch diese gruseligen Dinge, wo dann das Pendel immer dichter kommt. Genau.
I can see that you also applied a technique used in horror films. Yeah, we changed the mood like in a pendulum. We started with something very general, but my personal motivation led the scene to a distractive view.